Welcome into the Underage Packers podcast. It is a Wednesday, not a normal episode, but guys, we just needed to talk to you because Packers football is exciting again. Life is back in Green Bay. The sun is shining. It's not out there, but the sun is shining in Packer world. Okay, it's very exciting. Coming off a dominant win over the Detroit Lions, and the Packers, their playoff chances are looking up. Okay. That's quite honestly an understatement, as we will discuss today. So let's head into this. I'm Joey. Today I'm going to be previewing Packers playoff chances along with my buddy Big B. How are we feeling with this Packers resurgence?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, but I don't know. You kind of just forgot about me there a little bit. I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know why I said I'm doing this. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I
Yeah,
guess I'll just sit back and just enjoy the show. I
yeah.
guess
I'm
I
I'm
guess
going
I'm
to be
just a
talking for 20
viewer here.
minutes. What would have been funny if I just did not acknowledge you the whole time.
I
I could have
mean,
done that.
what be at first? I'll tell you that
Be,
much.
be grateful I'm giving you showtime right now, okay, buddy?
Hey,
Buddy
hey,
boy.
hey, hey.
All right, but
Wow.
we
All right.
are going to be taking a look at the rest of the Packers season here. Um, I mean, just a general statement. Coming off that win against the Lions, I feel very confident that the Packers are going to make the playoffs. More confident than I did last year at this time. Although these two seasons are following very similar tracks, right? You know, you had that unexpected win against Dallas in Lambeau around I want to say it was week 10 last year, and you were at that game, correct, Big B?
Correct.
That was an awesome
Make a
game.
wish.
What would you say?
Make a wish game. That was the Make a Wish game.
Oh,
The
that's
Big
correct.
B
That
game.
was the Big B game, of course.
Yes.
I just feel so much more confident about this team than I did last year, though. Not only because of their schedule really lines up for them, and also like it did last year, like the rest of the NFC wildcard race, it's looking like things might just fall in place for the Packers, but also just because, like, I think last weekend's game against Detroit or last week's game against Detroit was better of a game than we saw from the 2022 Packers. They did not play a game as good as the Packers did against Detroit on last Thursday. Would you agree with that, Big B?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a game. You know, the Cowboys game was really good, but outside of that, I struggle to think of a game where the Packers dominated for all four quarters against a team as good as the Detroit Lions, right? Because even you look at the Packers wins that they had on that late streak there, it's against the Bears, against the Rams, against the Dolphins was a great win. I will say it was very close. They curb stomped the Vikings, which were an awful team despite the record, and then obviously lost to Detroit. But I just think that Lions win was the best of the past 2 years. And another reason I feel confident in this team is that they're finally starting to put it together. And there's still a lot of things to clean up, which is promising because they have been playing like a playoff team as of late. And if they can clean those up, if they can, be better in the red zone, if Jordan Love has played pretty great these past 3 weeks, but if he can clean just a little bit more up, you know, be on stride with Christian Watson and have a few more of those underthrows turn into bomb touchdowns. If the defense can, be a little better on those first few drives, then not only are the Packers a team that could stumble their way into the playoffs, they could be a team that deserves to be in the playoffs. So that's my general thoughts. Big B, what are your thoughts just on how you feel about the Green Bay Packers right now?
Yeah, overall, my thoughts on the Packers is we're winning the Super Bowl. But, aiming it back down, getting down to earth, this team has been developing every single week. We've been waiting for that type of offensive explosion from
Yes.
this Packers team for many weeks now, probably since the Bears game. It was that performance versus the Lions was so unexpected, especially after the Chargers game. It was just mind blowing at what we saw, and I think that win gave energy throughout the fan base. The team I think gained so much confidence from that win alone because of what happened earlier this season. Lions went in Lambeau and absolutely demolished
Yeah.
this same exact team. So it's I think this team is set up. They are actually set up to make a run at a playoff spot, and I think it's probably a very good chance they will make a playoff spot at the
Yes.
end of this. And I don't know if we're going to beat the Chiefs, but I have a pretty good feeling that we'll probably beat the Chiefs, and after that, it's looking pretty easy.
Yeah, what's crazy about like the Packers can afford to drop this Chiefs game. They can
They
afford to
can.
drop this Chiefs game. They can afford to even drop a loss against the Vikings. And
Mhm,
Ross Uglum on Twitter pointed this out. If they lose those two games, they still have that 85% chance of making the playoffs. If they go winless or undefeated outside of that. They just got to get
mhm.
4 wins against Carolina, New York, the Giants, Tampa Bay, and Chicago. They can
Yeah,
go 4-2 for the rest of the way and still have an 85% chance of making the playoffs because the
mhm.
NFC is really ugly.
It
Um,
is.
and I will get to that in a second because, like you brought up, Big B, like the other teams in there like don't look like they're gonna finish out too great. But it is, when you look at the first half of this Packers season, it does become pretty crazy to look back at and think, man, can you imagine what situation would we'd be in if they close out those games against the Falcons, Broncos, and Raiders? Those three all decided by 3 or less points. Or Raiders was by 4. Lost to the Raiders by 4, Broncos by 2, Falcons by 1.
Even the Steelers can.
Yeah, that too. 4, I mean, it's easy to say like a lot of teams have games like these where you know they pile up. The Packers are not the only team in the league to have a lot of one score losses, but those
Mhm.
games especially, it's just like they were really 1 or 2 plays away. And if they just close out those games, they're 9-2 right now. Which that's just dumb. Okay, because as good as the Packers looked against Detroit on Thursday, Jesus, they are not anywhere near a 9-2 team. That is not representative of the 2023 Packers. But it is crazy to look back on that.
Mhm.
Now on to, as you mentioned, what needs to fall in place for the Packers. They do control their own destiny. However, they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs this week. So that would probably take the controlling their own destiny out of their hands for a little bit. However, the two teams ahead of them in the hunt right now are the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks, both with 6 wins, one more than the Packers. Vikings, obviously, they do have that half game advantage over the Packers. So that is obviously something to keep in mind. However, let's see. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Vikings schedule first. So they have a bye week after just a terrible game against the Bears last weekend. And then next week they'll play Las Vegas in Las Vegas. So that's, not all that tough of a matchup. Although I do really like what Coach Pierce is doing there. And then they play the Bengals after that. So Bengals aren't too tough, but they do play the Lions twice. And in between those two Lions games near the end of the season is Green Bay. So that's great for Green Bay to be able to take that advantage back, and really control their own destiny in sorts. I would think if they are able to get that win, that would, if yeah, that would be big time. And then the other team ahead of them, the Seattle Seahawks, have a really tough schedule to end out the season. I mean, just this 3 game stretch here: Cowboys, 49ers, and the Eagles at on the road in Dallas and San Fran. Those are like the 3 top seeds in the NFC. And Seattle, for as much credit as Pete Carroll and Geno Smith deserve for the unexpected work they've done over there the past 2 years, they have not looked great as of late. So to me, the question should be, why not the Packers? Like, to me, I'm betting the house on the Packers making the playoffs.
Yep.
Um, so I'm really liking the Packers' chances, and you know, we can talk about this all day, and I'm sure like most people at this point on Twitter have seen and bought into all the hype of, okay, Seahawks have a tough schedule, Vikings aren't looking great, Packers are the only team behind them in the hunt. But I guess the real conversation that we should be having outside of that is what what a playoff berth would mean for this 2023 Packers team, because it is so different from what a playoff berth would have meant to the 2022 Packers. That was exciting to
Mhm.
watch and all, but this means a lot to this team,
Yeah.
even if they get curb stomped by the first or the second seed in the first round of the playoffs. So that's, likely going to be someone of Eagles, 49ers, Lions, Cowboys. Um, those would all be tough matches, although they did just, dominate the Lions. But, outside of that, outside of whoever they would play and how that game would go, um, like it would be a lot for Jordan Love to make the playoffs in his first year as a starter. And not only that, but to completely turn around a season and for him to be the driving factor behind that. Now, there's been a lot of other factors that have played into it, but Jordan Love has undoubtedly been the biggest factor in that, as quarterbacks usually are.
Mhm.
And for Matt LaFleur, I mean, there it was just 3 weeks ago. I mean, after that Steelers loss, people having some valid questions about Matt LaFleur's job security. Um, that would be big
Yeah.
for him. And for the front office, these past 2 weeks have to be very validating for Brian Gutekunst for his draft picks to finally be panning out. And my whole, thought process this weekend, processing the Lions game and all the aftermath of that is a lot can change and then in the NFL very, very quickly. I mean, after that Steelers loss, we were ready to pack it up. We were ready for a boring December. And like I said, plenty of people had very valid questions about whether Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst are the guys who should be leading the ship.
Mhm.
There were some ugly losses. Development was hard to be found. But now, just after these 2 wins here, it seems things are looking up, and I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah.
The NFL adding the seventh seed, the decision gets a lot of flack because you have teams like the Bears in 2021 making the playoffs and having terrible games. Seventh seed still has not won a game in the playoffs. However, I mean, one, it adds 2 extra games for the NFL to make revenue on, and they can have a super wild card weekend. But also, I mean, now there's going to be 3 teams in each conference that care about what their team is doing in December. So I applaud the money hungry folks at the NFL.
Mhm.
Gotta say.
Yeah. And it's actually ending up helping the Packers, in the last 2 years. So
No
that's
doubt.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even want to think about Super Bowl, but oh man. Oh
I
man, I mean,
mean, I'm
let's
not
not
saying
go
I'm,
there.
I'm
That's
just
a
saying.
conversation for a few weeks down the road. We got to see what they do against the Chiefs this weekend. Which we'll fully preview in our episode this week. But Big B, I mean, just how much are you looking forward to what should be an exciting month of Packers football here?
You know, this past Sunday, I was sitting in this chair right here that I'm sitting in, and I was looking at my TV. I'm wondering, I just want to watch Jordan Love and Jaden Reed just dominate a defense. Like I am so eager to watch this Green Bay Packers football team again. It's not even funny. Like I am so pumped to watch Jordan Love tear up a defense. Joe Barry, doing Joe Barry things, Matt LaFleur getting in his bag and having an absolute master class of a play calling day. Just I just love it. I love being a Green Bay Packer fan. Maybe next week I'm probably not gonna enjoy being a Green Bay Packer fan. You never know.
Well,
It changes week to week. But
yes.
right now, I love being a Green Bay Packer fan. I love Jordan Love. I love Matt LaFleur. I might even, tolerate Joe Barry this week. Things get crazy after a Green Bay Packers win. All right, that's all I'm gonna.
Oh,
That's how I'm gonna end it off.
wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The little handshake and then the devilish idea to tolerate Joe Barry. Oh man. Well, that is a good place to end it off.
That is.
Potential legacy game. I mean, I would say it's the biggest game in quite some time for the Packers, but honestly, I like expectations aren't too high for this game specifically.
no, we're gonna preview this, but like just just proving to like Swifties, like the Packers are actually a good team and like Jordan Love's actually a
I
good
don't.
quarterback. Like
Uh-huh.
that's the main reason why I want to win. Like that
Oh,
just you know, you know,
yeah. Okay.
just all right. Get ahead of myself. All right,
Yes.
gotta calm
Oh
down.
yeah. There will be. I will advise you guys. There will be plenty of Taylor Swift talk in our episode this Friday. So
I'm sure.
we'll 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 keep it near the end of the episode. So if you want to click off after that, that's completely fine. But just be prepared for that. All right. So we appreciate you tuning in to this just rant, word vomit.
Mhm.
Because Packers football is fun again. Okay.
Yes.
Um, I hesitate to say that because like Packers football is always fun, but oh man, it was like 5 straight weeks of Big B saying he was depressed on every episode. We are.
Yeah, that was a dark period of time in the Big B household. It was not pretty. I just kind
All
of.
right. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this interesting video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and find us on all the other socials. We'll talk to you guys later this week. Go Pack, go.